people, this is the stuntydm, and this is another part of the Rosewald campaign I'm building. This continuation of last week where we created this location, the Knight's Tomb. This time I'm going to be populating it, adding some extra functions and stuff like that. So last week, just to recap, I added the map, walled the map, added lighting and effects like that, and that was kind of gave you an overview on what my campaign focus is going to be for this. And now we're going to be adding creatures to this that players can encounter. So I'm going to show you pulling those from the compendium, modifying them, adding extra things, also creating a magic item and making it so that it is collectible and pickable by a player. So we'll show you that in just one moment. So I have added a couple of modules. These are to aid me with setting things up. So the modules I have active. So the ones I've added today are magic items, token frames and Tozenizer. So what is, I'll create a creature first. So in your compendium you'll have access to all these things in the SRD. So I'm using gnolls for my encounter, and if they have them, hyenas. Okay, so I think I mentioned before, I don't particularly like the core gnoll, the top-down token look. Gnolls are fine, but the top-down token I dislike. I just think it's a bit too, I don't know, confusing points. So I always change them. So the module I've added is called Tozenizer. So I click on it, you'll see now I get this dialog box allowing me to amend the tokens. So this section here allows me to add layers or import images. If I've got one recorded, which I have in my assets library, I can go to this. So I've got monsters and I've got Gnoll. So I'm going to add this picture of Gnoll. Remove that previous layer, unlock it, and I can zoom in, get it nice and central. The cool thing about Tozenizer is, the reason I like it is I can now transport this straight into a token without using any kind of third-party functionality. So all I need to do is delete that layer and then click this button here, which is use avatar image, and it creates a circular version of that image. What I now need to do is, using these arrows, I can change the layer that the image is on. So I want the frame to be above it, and now again I unlock it, reposition it as I wish. So now I have a nice looking Gnoll token. So this will update this, add to your library. So learning point, if you're going to edit tokens, always do it from the token bar here, unless you don't want it to populate across all of them. The reason being, if you don't do it here, whenever you drag a token out, it will not save those settings, and those will not be passed over to new tokens. So I just need to go back and do this again briefly. Nice and simple. The other thing I wanted to show you is the token frames module I have. Should now have a big list. So you can spend making these all a little bit different if you want to. Just if you want to make certain characters stand out a bit more, you can do that. So the other thing I want to do for Gnoll, the hit points are a bit too much for a basic first level adventure, so I am dropping them down to 12 from 22. If I remove the dice roll here, otherwise I can just do, yeah, we'll do that. So what this means is, this is their hit die, so you can randomize it. So if I click here, you can see it will random, give me a random set of hit dice based off 2d8. So this makes it interesting where if you just put them down as they are, you literally drop them down and they're always going to be 12 hit points. I like to vary things up and make things a bit different. So I might have one that only has 8 hit points, or you might have one that has 15 hit points. You can so tidy sheets allows you to modify the roll here. And if you click on this roll, it'll do it. There's a module which I do tend to use to bring those hit points randomized onto the actual map called token mold. I haven't installed that one at the moment. I probably will do, but what it allows you to do is when you drag it out onto a scene, it will randomize the hit points based off of the calculation for the hit die in this box here, which is quite nice. So players don't go, oh, he's only got 12 hit points. I've just done 10 damage. Right, he's got 2 hit points left. They may actually have 13 hit points. Just to give it a little bit more, I guess, like flavour, make things a little bit different. So I'm going to keep his hit points at 10 for this. I don't want him to have a shield. I want these guys to be relatively easy to deal with. You don't want to give monsters like high level, lots of armor, high hit points, high damage when it's the first party, the first encounter. Ideally what you want is to make it simple enough that they can kind of come in and just deal with the monsters with a bit of a fight. So in this regard, I'm going to do that. I learned from experience not to give monsters a D8 weapon. Spear I'm going to leave because they can just have a spear and use it one-handed to give them a D6 damage rather than D8. But I want to give them range, so I'm going to give them a short bow. So this is the setup. You do not need to use all these things. So I can give them like a short sword if I prefer to have them a short sword, which I'm going to. So this gives me options that this is not saying that all these gnolls have exactly this. You use this template, this sheet per gnoll. And you just decide, okay, this gnoll's got a short sword. Because once you drop them onto the map, you can delete these things to make it easier for yourself to remember, so you don't have all these options. But I like to have the range here. So obviously gnoll's got a bite, which is part of their rampage feature. So if they do have to reduce onto 0 hit points in melee, they can make a bonus action movement, move up to half its speed and make an attack. So these are all here. It's got hide armor, so its AC is 13, which is relatively low, meaning this should be pretty easy to hit. And 10 or a maximum of 16 hit points isn't too bad, and there should be a couple of hits that should go down. So that's a gnoll. What I'll do is drop him there. So there are, on this map, there's 2 outside. Heavily drinking. You will notice that when I drop them on, they do not have any changes. So I am going to be back in just a moment because I'm going to add token mold because it's a lot more than just randomized hit dice. So 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. So token mold, you'll see it appear here in the access menu. It's a little config you can open, and what this menu module allows you to do, what it will do for you, it will automatically add a number to a token if it's not linked. So what that means is you will see it's a prototype token, this here. If this is not ticked to say it's a linked actor, which is really only with like major NPCs that there's only one of, or player characters, you link them. Otherwise, you would leave it unlinked. What it means is every time I drop a version of the gnoll onto the map, it will add a new suffix to it, and it will count up for me. You can change it to numerals, alphabetical, Roman numerals, however you want it on there. You can also have it set to add a random objective. So you could literally have it say like scared gnoll, stuff like that, if you want to differentiate them that way. I choose not to. I don't like that in those. I just prefer to have it like gnoll 1, gnoll 2, gnoll 3 example. So I'm going to untick that. So this sends the result to chat. So when I drag a Gnoll out, what will happen is it should automatically randomize its hit dice with its hit points. Normally that thing will tick, will drop it into the chat, which I don't want to happen. So let's test this out. So if we put a Gnoll there, so you got Gnoll 1, so he has 9 hit points. And a Gnoll 2 comes up as Gnoll 2, he's got 7. Perfect. So, and there's another Gnoll there. One on that side, and there's 2 in this room down here, 1 in front there, and 1 in the corner there. So there's my Gnolls, and you can see that if I click on them, they all have different numbers. So when they go into the combat tracker, I can differentiate them without having to know which one's which. It's automatically added that for me, which is brilliant. And it's randomized all the hit points for me. So these are quite low. So most of these Gnolls are going to take like 1 hit. He's a bit beefier. And you can always, if you feel like actually 6 is a bit too low for him, you can just go around to this Gnoll and go, okay, well let's actually give this guy 10 hit points. And now he's actually got 10 hit points. Hyenas would be similar. I actually didn't get a token for those. But in this room there are 3 hyenas, all sleeping around the cooking pot. And then the last one to do is add a new Gnoll. This is going to be the boss. So to do this, rather than drag Gnolls in again and stuff, I'm just going to duplicate. So if I right click and go duplicate, makes a whole new version, and I can edit this. So I have different artwork for this guy. So same as before. If I go here to my asset library, so Rosewald, monsters, Gnoll, select that image. So I believe this is actually the image for a Fjeld, but he looks pretty kind of nasty looking. And then again, I can delete that and go from avatar, move it over, unlock. Now to make him even stand out a little bit more, I can always just go through and change his thing. So you can play around this. I'm just going to find, well, looks maybe a little bit different. It just kind of stands out compared to the rest of them. Yeah, wouldn't mess around with that too much. You get the point. You'll see here that image actually overlays and that comes outside the token. It doesn't matter. The only thing the token is picking up is what is inside the ring. It will not show the outside sections. So I just go OK. And I'll update him. And now I'm going to call him Gnoll Boss. He's actually going to have a bit more hit points. So him I want to have static. So he's going to have 22 hit points, like a normal Gnoll. Oh, not that many. So what I'm going to do is remove the hit die, so it doesn't. So token mold won't automatically roll them for me. And it'll pop it in, say flat 22. So he's not got a short sword. This guy is going to have a Morning Star. Just make it a little bit more scary. Doesn't have a spear, doesn't have any ranged weapon, he's got a Morning Star. But what I am going to do is I am going to add a new item for him. So it's a feature. Before I do this, let me see if it's in here. So you will find that you can find a lot of stuff in the compendium. So we've got monster features. See if you have like leadership. Yeah, we do. That's what I want to give him. So I can just drag that into there. So what this does, if I click on here, you'll pop it down. So it basically gives the bless. So this is to just give him a little bit more of a boost, make him more interesting. So what he does is, as an action, he can basically give his allies bless. Later I'll probably look to automate that so it applies it automatically. But for now I've got that feature there, and if I use it, it will pop it into chat. You see it will ask you to if you want to consume. So because this has a resource here, you get this little dialog box to say yes. Do you want to? Usually say yes and use it. Post into chat, and you see it deducts the use per day. To reset it, you go back into the item, or you just click on this here and refresh it like that. So that makes him a little bit more interesting. 𝐿𝐴𝐽𝐳𝐝. So what's his Morningstar? Morningstar is a pretty beefy weapon. It's a D8, so that'll make him hit quite hard. He's already got +2 strength, so he's going to hit them pretty hard, which is designed to make him a little bit more of a difficult encounter compared to the rest of the anything else. That's pretty much him, and he is stood right in the corner. And you can see there, whenever there's no randomized hit point, token mode will give you a message to say we can't randomize it. You will notice, however, what I just discovered, and I sometimes forget about this, is if you duplicate it, the token will not change its name. It will always come with the same name. So you need to go to prototype token and change this bit here. Otherwise, whenever you drop them onto the battlefield or scene, it will take the token name from the token from whichever creature you duplicated it from. I'm actually going to link him. I don't want him to come up with like a 1 or anything like that. So he's going to be my Gnoll boss. See, he's now Gnoll boss 22. It's got all this stuff set there. Perfect. The next thing I'm going to do is drop in my journal entries. So I've got all these here. So first one I'm going to do here, and exactly what I did with the main map. Don't want these to be too big. Background to be yellowish, make it quite clear. It all set, and it means that I now, when I need to, when they enter these rooms, I can click the offering room, and it pops up all the details I need on here. So the players will basically be approaching from over here and deal with these gnolls. How they deal with them is down to them. They may fight them, they may talk to them, they may try and like distract them so they can sneak in, and then they'll encounter these guys here, come down some stairs, get in this fight, and then this is a secret room which they won't see. So what I'm going to do now is the trap. Now I actually did make, yeah. So I'm going to be using Monk's tiles for this because I found this is quite cool. So like before, you just make a tile, make it active, and make it controlled by anyone on enter. And then what we do is you want it to have a 100% chance of triggering, and click. So the first thing I want it to do, I want it to pause the game. So it will pause the game. So this is a bit different before. What this does is it will this is stacking things on top of one another. So this is a macro I wrote. It is very simple. All it does is puts a message in the chat to say that you've triggered something, giving them time what to do. And then the last thing it will do, well, actually 2 more. So the next one is I want to delay. I want to give them 20 seconds. And what I've done is I have made an actor. No, I haven't. But I can make an actor, which I will do now, which is just called Trap. Yeah, so what I'll do here is make a folder called Knights 2. So I can just keep all these tokens in here I need for that purpose. Get a blue color. So the Gnoll, hyena, Gnoll boss all go in there. Make a new actor. This is going to be an NPC. It's called Trap. And all I'm going to do for this is I'm going to make an attack, which is going to be called Trap or Scything and Blade. It is a simple melee. Simple martial, that's the one. And it wants to be a, make it a battle axe. But it's one action. This is how you create a new weapon effectively. So what I'm doing here is I'm making an attack for this token, and I'm going to use Monk's active token tile tokens to trigger that after they step onto it. So normally I'd fill this out, but I don't need to at the moment because it's not going to target them specifically. So it's a melee weapon attack, and it is 1d8. Actually, let's make it 1d6. Don't want to be too harsh on the players going to a fight. That's it. No, it's a saving throw. So what I'm doing here, I am setting this as a saving throw instead. So this is a trap. So what I want to happen is that when I click this, it will force them to make a save, or it'll request a save. If they fail, they take damage. So that's all set up there. I can add all these extras onto there I need to. Now for this, I can go back to here, go add. I want it to make an attack, and I want it to be against the triggering token. And now I want to select who. I select my trap, and when you select the trap, it gives you what options, what attack options are in there. Because there's only one, I want to use Scything Blade, make it a public role, and I want to display a role message update. So what this will do is when someone steps on this tile, it will pause the game. It will then trigger a menu to say that you've stepped onto a plate. Give them 20 seconds to decide what, and then it'll post into trap and attack a basic save. So let me share that with this Gnoll. So I've got this hyena, assuming this is a player, step onto the plate, gains paused, pops up here, and gives it 20 seconds. Sorry for the boring wait, but when it does, it will automatically populate a roll into here. Now, if you use things like MIDI QOL, you can automate that roll, which I will do at a later date. But you can see now it's automatically targeted him, and then I go save and throw. And it'll force a save and throw. He's failed, and now I'll roll damage. Hyena will take 6 damage, and I can apply that to them as they are. So that is, in a nutshell, what you can do with that. And again, you can like trigger this again, stuff like that. You can make it so it only triggers once per token, setting those up. And with this, what I would do is I want to make this a clear image so my players don't see it, there we go. I want it to be clear image. So there. So they won't see it's there, I know it's there, but the reason I want it to trigger in one way first is because I don't want to just surprise them and go, surprise! Here's, you have no idea. This gives them the opportunity, if they're not paying attention to like looking for traps and stuff, this points out to them and gives players, new players especially, a good indication of what to expect and kind of go, maybe you should be looking for traps. So we've got this room here. This is just going to be a fight, a boss fight. The important thing here is to get access to the secret room, which, as you remember from last week, is stored here. They must read, probably after the battle, they read this text, and they must give their word as a puzzle. So this gives a puzzle for the party. There's no mechanical benefit to this that I'm going to set up. As a DM, you adjudicate it, and then you click on the door and go, a door opens to the right, and you can see inside. But one thing to point out here is I've not set it specifically. I said my word is an option, or they can use, if they recite their oath from the previous room, the offering room, or if they have something else that sounds suitable to DM, you just use your judgment rather than going, oh, you didn't say that, no, can't do that. Just doing it that way makes it a bit more interesting. And the last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to make an item, and now I'm going to make a magic item for the players. So this is equipment, and this is so what this is. So I'm going to go into my details there. This is a shield. Does require achievements. Players are proficient with it. Armor class gives it 2. And then we have an activation cost. So this is all the basic stuff here, but what I have, this is a module called Magic Item. This is a quite cool part about it. All you need to do is click this. It's now a magical item. It needs to be equipped and attuned. It has efficiency. So what this allows me to do is I can apply things like charges onto items to allow them to use this. So this item is going to allow the user to cast Thorn Whip, basically twice per, up to their proficiency bonus per day. So first things first, this section here allows me to drop things in, so I can drop in feats, other abilities or spells. I don't believe Thorn Whip is... No, it's not. So I'm pretty certain I've made it previously. I have not. No. Okay, rather than mess around with that, showing you that, for now I'm just going to show you let's add Firebolt instead. Yeah, same process. Drag that on there. So it's a cantrip, consumes 1, cannot be outcast, no DC, number charges. It should be able to do that, but it's refusing. So let's just say 2 to begin with. It takes 1 action to use it. So that should be the item setup. We'll have to test that out. Now, next thing I'm going to do is put a tile down. This tile is actually going to be a small shield I've added. So let's go back to Rosewald, general use, items, shield. Okay, so the tile. Now I need to and want the shield to be there. So because it is a trigger, so what I'm going to do is make it active. Controlled by anyone. I want it to be on click. 100% chance to trigger. Now this is to add item. To triggering token. And I want to select the item. That's this. Update. There. So what will happen with this is when someone clicks on it, we can test it with a Gnoll. So I have the Gnoll open here. So as a Gnoll, when I click on this shield, you can see it's added Rose's Thorn to my my sheet. Now, if I make this equipped, not sure if I can make it equipped for. So if I equip it, you see his AC has gone up by 2. This might not work with a Gnoll, but I will be playing around with this at a later date when I can add this. But for now, it works enough that it applies and adds that to them there. So yeah, that's kind of it really. It's quite straightforward. That tomb would basically be done. I can add like some loot and stuff to it to say that there is actually some there are some items that can be looted, like gold and stuff like that, but in general the tomb itself is pretty much done and ready for like players to run through, making it quite straightforward. And this is what I run the other day for them, for my group. So they just kind of run through here, encounter these, dealt with this lot, figured out the puzzle, got into this room, and discovered a magical shield for them. Which is quite cool. Yeah, so a little bit haphazard there, and some of it was watching me trying to figure shit out, which happens a lot as a DM. You'll probably notice that sometimes you have to play around with things and figure them out. That's just an example. But yeah, this is something I hope you enjoyed. I hope it found some of this useful. If there's any questions or any comments, please feel free to drop them into the comment below. I respond to all of them. I'm happy to hear if this has aided anyone at all. I love hearing that because it's something I want to help you guys with. And thanks a lot for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video.